So right off the bat, if you came for a traditional zombie movie, you're in for a curveball. Today we're not just talking about another groaning horde of undead, we're dissecting a movie that wants to slip into your feelings before it slams you with a jump scare. My take. Maggie isn't a typical horror flick. It's a character study about love, responsibility, and the cost of protecting people you can't always save. And yes, that's exactly the kind of vibe The Last of Us fans often latch onto, but with a distinct flavor that makes it stand on its own on HBO Max. Let me unpack what this film is really doing, why it matters, and what Arnold Schwarzenegger's performance banners as a turning point in his career. I'll also push back against the lazy, just another zombie movie label and show you the deeper currents at play here. What Maggie actually is. A quiet, intimate drama wrapped in a zombie apocalypse shell. The virus backdrop isn't just set dressing, it's the engine that reveals Wade Vogel's, Schwarzenegger, devotion and flaws. What this means is we're invited to measure heroism not by flashy acts, but by the persistence to stay human when the world exhales deeply and the infection wins small battles inside a family. The core relationship is father-daughter, not a military squad or a lone survivor's arc. This shifts the emotional scale from external threats to internal struggle. In my opinion, that's the film's secret sauce. You care about Maggie not because she's a zombie, but because Wade is trying to keep a leash on a situation spiraling beyond his control. The director, Henry Hobson, makes a deliberate choice to slow the pace and lean into mood over momentum. This isn't a popcorn movie. It's a meditation that asks you to sit with uncertainty and the gray areas of protection and permission. Why Arnold's casting works, and what it signals. Casting Arnold as Wade is a bold, almost counterintuitive move. The audience expects the heroic one-liner and the heroic rescue, but here Arnie is asked to be vulnerable, worn, and imperfect. That contrast itself becomes part of the drama's tension. Personally, I think this is one of the moments that redefines him as a performer capable of restraint. The film leverages Arnold's star wattage to sell a fatigue-filled dad who isn't always right. Critics noted his performance as a surprising delicacy. What makes this interesting is how it reframes star power. Presence plus restraint can carry a narrative that's more about decay, emotional and societal, than explosions. There's a meta layer, a veteran action icon stepping into a role that scrutinizes the consequences of violence and control. If you take a step back, this aligns with a broader trend of aging action leads seeking more nuanced, human stories when their bodies aren't at peak physical prowess anymore. The slow burn and its critics. Some reviewers found the pace too languid, the mood too dour. That's fair, the film isn't chasing adrenaline, it's chasing a mood. In my opinion, slow pacing can be a strength when the stakes are intimate, because it gives audiences time to marinate in the moral fault Wade navigates. The moral questions Maggie raises are imperfectly answerable. How far should a parent go to shield a child who's already changing before your eyes? What does it mean to quarantine a family member you love? This ambiguity matters because it mirrors real-world anxieties about care versus control in crisis situations. The reception split is telling. Some people want gut-punch horror, others want character-first drama. Maggie sits squarely in the latter camp, which might not win over every horror fan but can earn a devoted crowd among viewers who crave emotional resonance in post-apocalyptic settings. Thematic threads that connect to The Last of Us and beyond. The virus as moral weather, not just plot device. Maggie uses the outbreak to strip away conveniences and reveal what people do when infrastructure fails and the clock is ticking on relationships. This is a pattern you see in top-tier post-apocalyptic fiction. The end of civilization exposes who we are at our core. The protector archetype, re-examined. Wade's instinct is to shield Maggie, but the film asks you to question what protection costs: family, autonomy, the possibility of healing, and the line between care and coercion. This resonates with how The Last of Us treats its own central father-daughter dynamic, but with a different tonal approach. Performance as propulsion. Schwarzenegger isn't just a draw, his performance anchors the movie's emotional tempo. What this suggests is a broader shift in genre cinema where veteran stars leverage quiet, intimate storytelling to redefine their legacies. Why this should matter to viewers today. If you've been consuming post-apocalyptic dramas for the camaraderie of survival or the thrill of danger, Maggie nudges you to consider the cost of care in a collapsing world. It's a reminder that resilience isn't always about fighting a monster, sometimes it's about carrying the people you love through the hardest chapters. For fans of The Last of Us, Maggie offers a different flavor of the same impulse, the tension between love and ruin, the fear of losing someone to something unseen and unstoppable, and the quiet heroism that often goes uncelebrated. Closing thought. What this really suggests is that big-name action stars can reinvent themselves by leaning into vulnerability and parental earnestness, not just explosions and one-liners. The result is a movie that sticks with you because it doesn't pretend the world ends neatly. It asks you to watch someone choosing what it means to be human when everything else is breaking down. If you're after a post-apocalyptic experience that leans into heart rather than havoc, Maggie deserves a place on your watch list, especially on HBO Max where it's streaming now. Question for the audience: do you think the epic stakes of a zombie crisis are best served by intimate, character-driven drama, or do you prefer your apocalypses with bigger battles and higher body counts? Share your take in the comments and tell me which scene in Maggie hit you hardest and why.